April 3rd, 2017 council meeting. I would ask that you turn your electronic devices on silent. And I'm calling this meeting to order. We will observe a moment of silence right now. Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Domingo, the roll call, please.
Councilmember Barnes.
Here.
Reed. Here. Brown.
Here.
Lawler.
Here.
Spicer.
Here.
French.
Here.
And Mayor Brown.
Here. Are there any council member comments this evening? Councilmember Lawler.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want the community to know that April the 12th at 3:30, I'll be at the Senior Fork Center coloring Easter eggs with the seniors. So if anybody would like to join me, or you have someone elderly that might want to come out and color their eggs, I will be there at 3:30 for about an hour and a half.
Thank you. Are there any other council comments? Okay. Seeing none, we will move forward. Presentations. Item A, proclamation for Mayor and County Recognition Day for National Service. So I'm going to do the. You're reading a proclamation. Okay, yeah, but it's. Okay, yeah. Over here. Okay. Okay. City of Albion proclamation recognizing Mayor County Recognition Day for National Service on April 4th. Thank you. Whereas service to others is a hallmark of the American character and central to how we meet our challenges, and whereas the nation's counties are increasingly turning to national service and volunteerism as a cost-effective strategy to meet county needs, and whereas participants in the AmeriCorps and Senior Corps address the most pressing challenges facing our cities and nation, from educating students for jobs for the 21st century and supporting veterans and military families, to providing health services and helping communities recover from natural disasters. And whereas national service expands economic opportunity by creating sustainable, resilient communities and providing education, career skills, and leadership abilities for those who serve. And whereas AmeriCorps and Senior Corps participants serve in more than 50,000 locations across the country, including 9 organizations in Albion, bolstering the civic, neighborhood, and faith-based organizations that are so vital to our county's economic and social well-being. And whereas 9 national service participants of all ages and backgrounds serve in Albion, providing vital support to city residents and improving the quality of life in our county. And whereas national service participants increase the impact of the organizations they serve, both through the direct service and by managing millions of additional volunteers. And whereas national service represents a unique public-private partnership that invests in community solutions and leverages non-federal resources to strengthen community impact and increase the return of taxpayer dollars, including more than $200,000 from organizations in Albion. And whereas national service participants demonstrate commitment, dedication, and patriotism by making an intensive commitment to service, a commitment that remains with them for their future endeavors. And whereas the Corporation for National Community Service shares a priority with city and county officials nationwide to engage citizens, improve lives, and strengthen communities, and is joined with the National League of Cities, National Association of Counties, Cities of Service, and mayors and county elected officials across the country for Mayor and County Recognition Day for National Service on April 4th, 2017. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Garrett Brown, of the City of Albion in Calhoun County, do hereby proclaim April 4th, 2017 as National Service Recognition Day, and encourage residents to recognize the positive impact of national service in our community, and thank those who are some of who are standing in front of us. Thank those who serve and to find ways to give back to their communities. Witness therefore, well, I won't read all that, but thank you all. Appreciate it. Oh, yeah, okay. Just to you or to? We will move forward to public hearing section. Open that up. Item A, capital improvement plan. Like the manager to,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Or is there, I should say, are there any public comments that, it's been in the public, but are there public comments relative to the capital improvement plan at this moment? Guess we can just, we'll wait until, okay. Seeing none, we will move forward to item B under public hearing. CDBG grant for Irwin Ave Improvement Project. Are there any public comments on that? Okay. Well, this is just for public comment. They're gonna be discussed a little bit later. Oh, okay. So, no, yeah. Seeing none, I'm gonna close the public hearing section. We will move on to public comments. Persons addressing city council shall limit their comments to no more than 3 minutes. And we ask for proper decorum. Are there any public comments on the agenda this evening, on any of the agenda items? Okay. Seeing none, we will move forward to consent calendar. Is there a motion? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Councilmember Lawler.
Mayor, there was a correction for March the 27th in our study session,
Okay.
and it says that 1 was the low and 15 was the high.
Okay.
Well, the paper that we have, it says 1 was the low and 15 was the high. But the minute says 1 was the high and 15 was the low. So can we
Okay.
make a correction?
Thank you. Are there any other amendments to the minutes? Okay. Okay. Seeing none, we'll just have a voice vote to approve the, to approve the minutes.
As amended.
Yes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Probably should have put that, I'm gonna put them on. Probably just do it now, real quick. Okay. One request I'm gonna make, just to amend the agenda, we have, I don't wanna say guest, but wanna have a brief presentation. Can I have a motion to amend the agenda just to have proceeding, I guess, item A, or to be item A, just comments from Mr. Trotter. Can I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Moved and seconded, and this is a roll call vote, because we're amending the agenda.
Councilmember Barnes,
Yes.
Reed, Brown,
Yes.
Decker, oh, sorry, Lawler,
Yes.
Spicer,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
and Mayor Brown.
Yes. If you come forward, Mr. Trotter, and just give your name and address. And
Michael Trotter, the address is 401.
Hold the microphone.
Turn the mic. Yes.
Michael Trotter, address is 401 East Porter Street. Hello, everybody. I was just inviting everyone to pretty much be a part of a video shoot that we have for me and my wife. We are recording artists. We have a situation with the Grammys this year, and for our lead single, which is called Down to the River, we're highlighting pretty much the town of Albion and the river, you know, the story with the river and stuff like that, and different businesses in the community and different things like the Bone and Albion College and that sort of thing. And pretty much on the 10th of April, we're still trying to get the time together, but we're going to stage a march. And the march is pretty much from the Bone to the right, going down to that river. It's just the idea of the song is, instead of protesting, you know, what we're against, is pretty much a march of profess of what we are standing for and that sort of thing. And so we wanted everyone to be a part of it. We feel it'll be a big thing.
Thank you. Oh, Councilman Reed.
The city manager, if Holland Park was gonna be included in that video, and I'm just sure it will.
Yes, any suggestions, I'm definitely open, being that I'm still a newbie in the town, but since I've been here, I've been embraced, my family's been embraced with open arms, and unlike any other town we've ever lived in, I just thought it was important for people to know that Michigan is not just about Motown, but there's places like Albion and that really need to be on the map, especially in the musical community. So also the information about the Grammys I share with you all, but the official announcement won't be made until late October. So, you know, just please keep that under wraps. The band's name is called The War and Treaty. And again, it's me and my wife. And if you put on your thinking caps, you could probably figure out who's the war and who's the treaty. But that's pretty much it. And if you have any questions, I'm open to answer.
Are there any other questions from council? Councilmember Spicer.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say to Mr. Trotter, I don't know how much we can keep it under wraps, since this session is televised, it's recorded, and it's uploaded to YouTube, so. But thank you anyways for coming and speaking to us.
Okay, thank you.
Just so you know.
Any other? Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. We will move forward. I'm just going to, because we adjusted the agenda, I'm going to name the items with their, I guess, the succeeding letter, I guess. So item A, items for individual discussion. Item B, update on blinking lights on Watson Street, Eaton Street, Clark Street, and Michigan Avenue. This,
Yes, Mayor and Council, if you recall, I guess it was about a year ago, MDOT came to us in regards to their traffic study and had identified 2 intersections that no longer met the qualifications for having the regular traffic signals, the one being at Eaton and Watson and the other at Michigan and Clark. So they're in the process of decommissioning those traffic signals, and the update that we received from Mr. Maurer from MDOT indicated that the signal at Eaton and Watson is to have their crews remove some of the signal equipment this summer. At Michigan and Clark, they are going to be converting that one to the signal with an overhead flasher. The larger portion of the work relative to the signal poles, removals, and foundations, that will be completed with the project season of 2018. So they are proceeding.
okay, so Watson is going to be a,
Stop on Watson Street.
okay,
Stop sign on Watson Street.
but there's not gonna be a blinking right
No.
there. Okay, so Watson's gonna be gone. Eaton, are they talking about the one at Eaton Austin? Or is that the,
Heaton and Watson.
oh, okay. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. There should be an and right there. And then I know they mentioned, I guess we could maintain it. And what was that? It's like-
Right, the MDOT would no longer assume the responsibility because it did not meet the qualifications and they were outdated, so they're going to start requiring maintenance. So if the city chose to assume ownership and responsibility, that was an option before us.
Okay.
Nothing was indicated last year that was the interest of the city, so they are proceeding with the decommissioning of these signals.
Okay. Councilmember Spicer.
Thank you, Mayor. With regard to East Michigan and Clark Street, they are going to remove the red light and there will be a flasher, is that what you
Yes.
said? So that it'll be, what, yellow and,
Now, what color, I don't know if it's
I
red or
mean-
yellow, but it'll be a four-way flasher.
or four-way flasher?
Okay. Well, Councilmember Friend.
What does that entail?
At last year's meeting, the MDOT basically indicated that at Clark Street in Michigan, that would remain a four-way stop. And that was what the model is right now, with the three-light signal that blinks red in all directions.
Okay,
So it's my understanding that they're gonna take out that three-light signal box and put in a single light that blinks red. So it's still gonna be a four-way stop like it is now, it's just that it's a much
Okay.
simpler system.
gotcha. Understood, thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments from council? Okay. Seeing none, we will move on to agenda item C, request approval, second reading ordinance number 2017-03, an ordinance to amend ordinance 66-139, solid waste.
So moved.
Been moved, is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. Or do you want to?
So essentially what this ordinance was, if the mayor and council recall, is that we modified subsection E of the ordinance such that fines for future violations of the solid waste ordinance would be a $50 fine for the first offense, and then subsequent offenses may be assessed a fine of $100 for each repeat offense in the discretion of the city manager. There is, as a precursor to the assessment of fines, a 10-day grace period after the city manager has notified the individual that they're not in compliance with the solid waste ordinance. And so essentially that's the only change that we're making, is we're lowering the fine for the first offense and then making the subsequent offenses discretionary.
If I recall, this is a suggestion from Councilmember Lawler to modify that.
Correct.
Yeah. Are there any questions or discussion regarding that? Okay, I'd ask for a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Reed, Brown,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Spicer,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Barnes, and Mayor Brown.
Yes. Agenda item, should be D, request approval resolution number 2017-13, Albion Community Development Plan. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion. I'll start with things.
Mayor and council, we are required to adopt a community development block grant or CDBG plan in order to be eligible for the block grant infrastructure capacity enhancement or ICE program. So what you have is that document before you. I do want to advise you that there was a revision to page 3 of the plan so that it reflects the I believe that was handed out in the packet of additional documents that had to be updated. And in regards to the description of the project, it should reflect that as the upgrade of the water main street in addition to those street repairs associated with it. So your page 3 that was in your packet has been updated with the new document. And also, we are required to affirm a plan relative to minimizing the impact of displacing residents should that result from the project. However, there is no such impact, but we do have to adopt the plan should there be an instance where people are displaced. So you have the resolution and the plan before you for your consideration.
Are there any questions or comments from council regarding this item? Oh, Councilmember French.
Thank you. I was impressed with the detail of this plan, and I like the fact that it goes out 5-6 years. It means that our city and our staff are thinking about long-term, which is always better to be proactive than reactive, so I would applaud your staff and yourself for putting together a really good plan.
And Mickey Bittner was extremely helpful in all of the documents and plans relative to the ICE grant as well.
So just, I guess to be frank about that, that will be used to basically do a complete, I would say reconstruction, but complete repaving of Irwin Ave.
Should we be awarded the funding?
Yes, so if we get the grant from South Superior to Finley. So, are there any other questions or comments? Councilmember Brown.
Yes, sorry, Mayor. Thank you. On the revised resolution that we received, I just wanted to note that in the second paragraph, the revised copy shows 2 million, whereas what was in our packet was $1,980,000. So that was the difference. Just
And I'm sorry, where are you seeing that
the
at?
second paragraph of the resolution that was in our packet showed 1.98, and the revised shows 2 million.
This is resolution 2017-13.
Nope. 1.5.
Okay, that's a different one.
Oh, this, so what-
Are you talking about
the development plan. It's a number.
there's the,
We have 2 community
There's the-
development block, grant.
there's the capital improvement plan.
There's a capital
Hold on.
one, and then,
Hold on,
That's such a good point. Can you, for the public, can you describe the
'Cause I'm
difference, or do you want to wait till the
confused
next?
Okay. So, resolution 2017-13 is the community development plan. So that's the one where we identify what our objectives are relative to housing, what our objectives, our plan is if we should displace residents. 2017-14 is the capital improvement plan, and that's our 6-year plan from 2017 to 2022 for infrastructure improvements, which includes buildings, roads, larger equipment. 2017-15 is the community development ICE grant project and application. So that's the actual application relative to the Irwin Street project.
Yeah, I think, Councilmember Brown.
I just wanted to say thank you, because I thought I understood, and then I got confused, and now I'm back on board.
Okay. It's a lot. And if I could add, the community development plan and the capital improvement plan must be approved prior to our ability to act on the ICE grant. So that's why they're in that order on the agenda.
Are there any other
Just-
Councilmember Spicer?
thank you, Mayor. Just for the, clarify, the plans were available for residents to view. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no other discussion, we'll have a roll call vote on this resolution.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Spicer,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Barnes, Reed, and Mayor Brown.
Yes. Agenda item, let's see, E now. Request to approve resolution 2017-14, capital improvement plan. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion on that? This is basically the heart of what we discussed when we had the joint meeting with the Planning Commission at the Ludington Center.
And the capital improvement plan is a requirement of local units of government by the state of Michigan. So we are complying with that requirement. It was reviewed by the Planning Commission. They held a public hearing on March 21st. So their proposal is before you for your consideration. It consists of projects from 2017 to 2040. There's 5 projects identified in 2017. 17 in 2018, 10 in 2019, 6 in 2020, 1 in 2021, and 1 would be in 2022. We did ask the MEDC to review the document since it will require their approval as well. And they had suggested, because we had not actually allocated a project to 2022, that we move something to that. So my recommendation to you is to move the dam and mill race removal from 2021 to 2022 for the final document that you would be approving.
Councilmember.
I would support that amendment.
Okay. So there's a motion to amend that. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. I should say, are there any other questions regarding, well, we'll have that, all those in favor of the amendment, if you'd say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay, so that's been amended. Is there any remaining discussion regarding the main motion for approving the capital improvement plan? Councilmember French.
Thank you. So, by doing what we just decided to do, we now have a single project in 21 and a single project in 22.
Correct.
So I think that's, and if you look at the time frame that's been given, we have a bucket truck in 20, we have a fire engine in 21, and then a dam removal in 22. So I think all of those are kind of big ticket items, and I think that helps sort of spread out as we write for grants and as we try to find matching resources. I think that's good.
Okay. Councilmember Lawler.
Thank you, Mayor. For the plan in 2022 about the dam and mill race removal, is this a time where I can ask for a little bit more information about the description? Because it says that some of it is owned by the city and others are by Albion College. Are we saying that we'll be paying part Albion College owns, or are they going in together with us to do this project, or am I reading it right?
If I could respond, it would not be our intention to pay for those that are owned by other entities. But what we have been doing, at least having initial conversations, is joint investigation of identifying funding sources relative to either doing the upgrades or the removals. Primarily, the state is no longer interested in doing upgrades on dams in particular, and they prefer that you go back to the natural water stream. So most likely that would be the route that we would take, but we would work on it together, but the city would not be assuming responsibility for those properties owned by other entities.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from council? Okay.
Before, if I could have just a moment of personal privilege, I do want to thank Danielle Nelson, Stacy Levine, Jim Leonardson, all of our department heads, and Jill and Cindy from the library, everyone has pitched in to make this happen. Typically, to do a capital improvement plan, it takes a year, if not longer, and we did it basically in about 2 months. So it took a lot of long hours, series of meetings. Both the Planning Commission and the City Council participated in these discussions, and I just want to thank everyone. We have a stellar product, and it gives us the basis for seeking the funding to support these projects. So I just want to thank everyone who participated.
Thank you. Okay, see no other discussion, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Lawler,
Yes.
Spicer,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Barnes, Reed, Brown,
Yes.
and Mayor Brown.
Yes. Agenda item F, request approval resolution number 2017-15, CDBG ICE grant for Irwin Avenue improvement project. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Mayor and council, this would be the revised resolution that has the corrected dollar amounts on it. So that 2017-15, in the second paragraph, it should read 2 million. In the third paragraph, it should read 223,000, and the percentage in the fifth paragraph should be 55.1%.
Okay. Now we need a probably motion to make those. Is there a motion to amend?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any discussion on that motion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we're back to the the main motion to approve the grant application for Irwin Ave. Are there any other questions, comments from council? Okay, seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote, please. Thank you.
Councilmember Spicer,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Barnes, Reed,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
and Mayor Brown.
Yes. Item for individual discussion, G, request approval discharge of mortgage for Bernita Armstrong, AKA Bernita Motley and Curtis Motley, 2017 West Porter Street. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Support.
Moved and supported. I have the,
Mayor and council, some of you may be aware, but in the past, the city has had a program for home improvements, and typically, the requirement was that the loan be repaid at the time either of when the property was sold, rented, or the owners were deceased. So we have a situation where it was 15 years. Unfortunately, in many of the circumstances, the records didn't follow with these transactions, but in this particular case, we did have the information, and the individuals have paid the remainder of the balance in regards to this particular loan program. So they're just requesting that the city discharge the mortgage.
okay. Are there any comments, questions from council? Okay. Do we have an idea of how many we still have outstanding? I mean, I know the record's not there, but do we?
Around 20.
Okay. Okay. Okay, seeing no other discussion from council, we'll have a roll call vote.
Councilmember French,
Yes.
Barnes, Reed,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Spicer,
Yes.
and Mayor Brown.
Yes. Agenda item H, discussion for sidewalks.
You didn't ask Cullen to take this?
Oh. Who brought, I
Oh,
didn't
it's
know.
fine. Sorry. Okay, Mayor and Council, if you recall, for approximately 10 years, since 2008, the city has had a special assessment relative to sidewalks repairs throughout the city. It was thought at that time that the $50 per parcel would be sufficient to cover those upgrades throughout the city. However, with the decline in the number of occupied properties because of demolitions or they're owned by a public entity such as the land bank, although they do pay that assessment, but primarily demolitions. And the rising cost of sidewalk repairs, this has not come to fruition that everyone has been able to get their sidewalks upgraded or installed if they did not have sidewalks. So for the past 2 years, what the council has done was allow residents to ask to be exempted from that year's assessment for the $50 for the sidewalks. So what I'm asking is a consensus and direction from you if that is what you would like to do for this year, in which case we'll do the public notice and have a public hearing, and you can affirm those opportunities for individuals to be exempt if they have not had those improvements done. We will still need to have a more detailed and longer discussion relative to what we want to do going forward. But this is the first step in terms of allowing for that exemption to be granted, should people submit their applications.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. So are there any other, Councilman Lawler?
Oh, I just have a comment. I was talking with a resident, about last week, and she didn't have a sidewalk, and so I did offer her that, to come and talk to the city manager, about having that, tax taken away from her. She did say that she wasn't, really worried about it, as long as the city did what, was expected for any improvement about it. But, she told me that she was told, and can we, state for the record, she said she was told she would have to get a sidewalk. So can we make a statement towards her to say if she does or if she doesn't, just in case she's watching?
I think part of it kind of goes back to what the manager said. We're probably gonna have to have a longer discussion, because I think similar to the Attorney Hartness can probably look this up, but I think there's a requirement for sidewalks similar to Waste Hall. I think you're supposed to have sidewalks, but
It's probably true,
we can. I think that's something we need to maybe look at the ordinance and see what we are going to do, and then what we can do with funding going forward. But I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I was just wanting to try to help her gather that information, because she didn't want a sidewalk there, because she has a elderly person living there, and it would put more strain on her to do the sidewalk and try to keep her driveway clean. So she wanted to know if she could be exempt from getting a sidewalk. So that was the whole point of the discussion, just so that Colleen gets a better idea of what we talked about.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments from council? Any further discussion? Okay. Thank you all. Agenda item, it's going to be I, request approval of assessing service contract with the City of Marshall. Is there a motion for the assessing contract?
So moved.
Okay. Moved and seconded.
Okay. Mayor and council, since 2014, we have had a cooperative agreement with the City of Marshall for our assessing services. What it has done is allowed for significant cost savings while still providing this service through the shared staffing. We basically have 2 individuals that work an average of 1.5 days a week. So with those shared costs, the total for us for 2018 would be $45,852, which is only a few dollars more than it was the prior year.
Okay. Yeah, we've done this for several years, and then also I know that one of the things, I'm sure Councilmember French will agree with me, that we can perhaps have some discussions about a time frame for, or a strategy for addressing, making sure that all the assessments are as current as possible. But that's something, as a Councilman French.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, as you alluded to, the last couple of years have not been, to my way of thinking, a very successful one in terms of our assessment department. And I'm sure much of that is because they themselves are short-staffed and that they're only spending 10 or 12 or 14 hours in the city of Albion, and with everything that they have to do, they've not been doing really detailed site visits for various places, and so I think that moving forward, I'm fine with this being renewed for this year, but I think I share Mayor Brown's comments that we need to have a larger discussion about the role of assessment in our city's master planning. Remember that assessing is what property tax values are set at, and how much we can expect in terms of income from property taxes. And so things have been slow even in the presence of viable data. So we give that person an awful lot of authority with not an awful lot of oversight, and I would like to make sure that moving forward we have more oversight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other, is there any other discussion, further discussion from council? Okay. Oh, Councilman Spicer.
No, well, thank you, Mayor. I do want to ask some questions, but since you stated that we will be discussing this issue more in detail in the future, I'm going to withhold those until that time, at that time. Thank you.
Councilman Brown.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So just for clarification, this is a year-to-year agreement. Okay, thank you.
Mayor and council, if I'm hearing you correctly, there's interest in having a more detailed conversation, so I can work with the assessor to have a work session. Because the presentations are quite informative. It's a complicated topic to understand, and an extended conversation I think will be helpful for everyone.
Okay. Seeing no further discussion, I'm going to ask for a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Barnes,
Yes.
Reed, Brown,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Spicer,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
and Mayor Brown.
Yes. Agenda item J, discussion Austin Avenue, the former Albion Malibu Harvard site, and then the indicated information below. Is that Councilman Brown?
I asked for an update on these items to keep them poignant. My concern is there's a certain demographic that will need servicing. The Albion Malibu site is still very good property, prime location. It does have contamination. However, the federal government has stated that if the city of Albion comes up with a viable business to come in, they would clean it up. Historically, 600 block Austin Avenue has had thriving businesses. Prior to the great migration of the African Americans coming up, who ultimately ended up in the neighborhood, and there's so much historic value there. We had the cleaners, some barbershops, some taverns, and some other things there. And that, the Malibu Iron site and that job location supported that neighborhood. Historically, we've always had intimate neighborhoods. I mean, from Detroit, Grand Rapids, Chicago, and they were defined as Chinatown, Greektown, etc. And we have a master plan being performed here in Albion, a comprehensive plan, some capital plans, and I just feel tangibly that that area is not being addressed to the level that it should. For years, there's been code violations, dilapidation. Right now, a building is deemed unsafe in the paperwork we have here, and I'm just asking that we stay abreast. The EDC, takes a look at if they can attract business there, because with the socioeconomic status, some of the educational situations, we have some GED, high school, maybe 2-year junior colleges, students, who could help man that plant. Walkability, they could walk to work. Also like the Lincolnshire, the Albion public housing. My desire is that we get complete new housing one day, because if Albion is gonna be truly diverse, we have to have this demographic in the planning. And right now, this demographic is not in the planning. Housing, jobs. And right now, with the streetscape, us trying to have Albion as a my place, precinct 1, other than Eden Street, which provides more business taxes than any other area in Albion, is being left out. Right now, I'm still asking that these business owners in that area be held accountable. I see these people every day, all except for one that's located out of our mainland, that's still in the United States. And we're not moving forward. But with the report that John Tracy had, the council has in its packet, we're trying some new strategy because we didn't have a birth date on one property owner. We couldn't take the building down. I would ask John Tracy if he could come up and give the update on how this is working right now.
You know,
John Tracy, Director of Planning, Building, and Code Enforcement. On the one particular building, yes, it is true that without a date of birth, we cannot go through the Calhoun County court system with a citation. Attorney Harkness has gone a different route, which I believe you've got the through the court.
On 608?
608.
Yeah, we've, earlier this week, we filed a public nuisance lawsuit against the property owner, and actually, we just received that back from the court today. That particular property is owned, property owner lives in Hawaii, so we have located a process server in Hawaii to effectuate service on that lawsuit, so we expect that to happen sometime this week or next week.
And we've done the same thing with a few other buildings that we have problems within the city too, rather than trying to go the other route with the citation through the court system. So hopefully this will work a little bit better than what we've had before.
Okay, and I recognize that these are private ownerships and the city has no jurisdiction other than the, be sure that they pay their taxes. Some of them are delinquent on their taxes right now. And we have really tried to work with them, and I'm still willing to work with them, but it's actually holding up progress. I mean, I've been here, this is my 7th year in council, and at some point in time, we have to take the definitive action.
Well, if I may say, the biggest problem we have is money. We can get as many judgments as we want on a number of properties, but if we don't have the money to pursue them, we're spinning our wheels. I understand what you're saying, and believe me, if it's irritating and mind-boggling to anyone, it is to me more than probably anybody in this room on trying to move forward with some of these. But the bottom line is money. We have demolition judgment against Dalrymple School. We've had them on signs. We've been changed around because of some political avenues that people have taken, even with signage. And then it also affects how a judge responds to you on other buildings. So we have to go on in one direction and not go off that direction. That hurts us. And I'm not going to go into a very specific ordeal with that because this is not the place or time to do that.
I respect that, John. However, if they don't pay their taxes, it reverts back to the
Correct.
the treasurer and then the land bank, and at that time we can seek grant federal and state money to move forward. So if they're not paying their taxes, that's a personal decision they're making, and they're thwarting progress. I mean, I want all of Albion to be successful.
So do I.
I definitely want Precinct 1 to be part of that success, because if Precinct 1 is not successful, Albion's not successful.
So do I, and I think you can ask the city manager how much time we put into Precinct 1, Precinct 2, Precinct 3, Precinct 4, Precinct 5, and Precinct 6. It's across the board.
Okay, I'd like to come back to, with all due respect, come back to the 600 block. Now,
Okay.
This homeowner's in Hawaii. We're trying to get the judgment through the lawyer, am I correct? And then we'll move forward from there. However,
Right.
the other ones right now may have abatements and may have tax problems. I would just like to move forward.
I think,
Well, the tax problems have nothing to do with the city. That's through the county.
Yeah, I think a helpful thing is actually a good segue, because I was gonna mention this at the end of the meeting. We have a goal-setting session, the final thing tomorrow. And I know, at our last session, I asked the council members under each, of the top, items that had kind of high urgency and high importance to kind of put 3, projects under that heading that you'd like to see done. And I think one of the big ones, was kind of neighborhood stabilization. So that could be a time, and probably a better form to kind of hash some of these out, because this is important. Albion, in large part, was built on an industrial base. That's not there anymore, but, going forward, if we can find, and I think we all agree that we can find opportunities for people at all levels, that's really key.
Right.
So I think we're all on the same page. We just have to.
If I may say, one of the biggest things that has to happen if you want to see things work is to go across the board. Precinct 1 is one of the precincts that have been asked to do different things for council and hold off. So we need to go across the board evenly, whether it's with trash, grass, buildings, demolitions, and such. Not hold up for one and let the other one go.
I understand.
Okay?
Thank you.
I have a final comment. My position here is the taxes do concern Albion, because that's the only way the property reverts back to where we can be involved. I'm confused about the statement you made. I guess I'm gonna pass on this, but you're saying.
Well,
I think
the taxes, we have no control on what happens with the taxes.
And actually,
That's how the property comes back. When they
Right.
foreclose and it goes over to the land,
Right.
and the treasurer, we do get involved.
yeah,
Right, but at this point, we don't. That's between the treasurer and that property owner, not the city.
and then eventually we end up getting dinged too.
Right,
when it comes
exactly.
back.
Then
So
we get
have
back
to-
charged and
Yes.
everything else, yeah.
So, yeah, so thank you.
Yep.
And we're gonna move forward. I think we're gonna move forward because
Discuss the Malibu Iron site. I discussed the Alton Avenue, but it was funny.
we used like 10 minutes.
So,
Yeah.
see how y'all.
Okay. Agenda item K, updates on the former Burger King and Ponderosa buildings. Do you wanna?
The Ponderosa, we're 1521 North Eaton Street. We have asked the building inspector to go forward with the city attorney along with the Burger King to go directly, basically as we have with 608,
Okay.
since we have had no response on either one.
On Ponderosa either?
Well, we had some response on Ponderosa for a period of time,
Okay.
but that time has elapsed, and we have not had any contact back,
Okay.
and we reached out quite a bit, so.
And Councilmember Spicer, then I have a
Well,
question.
I'm unclear. What's the status of the Ponderosa building? And
Ponderosa and Burger King, we're moving forward to go through the court for demolition. Demolition on the Ponderosa building, and then abatement of the blighted building at where the Burger King's at.
Do we have a court date or? No?
Not yet.
Councilman. Attorney Harkness.
I'm waiting for a report from Glenn Lindsay, our contracted inspector. Once I have that, I can file it.
Right.
John hasn't received that from Glenn, and so I can't proceed without that, but I know John has sent follow-up to Glenn, so as soon as I get that from Glenn, it'll be filed.
Right.
The one question I do have, I know that regarding, I guess, litigation regarding the sign went pretty high up. And, yeah, are we gonna,
No, what happened with that was litigated to the Supreme Court, and we won. And then our former acting city manager gave the property owner the okay to keep the sign up. We had a judgment that it had to come down, and I think at the time we also got a judgment in costs for roughly $18,000 to pay the city, and the former city manager told the owner, keep it up.
It's one of those things that really puts you behind when it comes to going to court in front of a judge when the judgment isn't followed.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So,
okay, thank you.
yeah.
Former judge was not happy.
Oh,
Mayor,
Councilmember Spicer.
We have no court date with regard to those properties and therefore no judgment, but, and maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but assuming we get a judgment in favor of demolishing those properties, do we have money to do that?
Oh, that's the other part of it. It's just like on Austin Ave, we can get all we want in judgments, but unless we come up with the money, I mean, we can take buildings down if we had the money and then put it against the property or try to go after assets, but
That's a problem that we've run into with several of these properties. You know, one of the properties, I can't remember if it was Dalrymple, I think it was Dalrymple School, was owned by an out-of-state
Yep.
company that had no assets, and then eventually tried to transfer the property back to us, and we had an order that they were to pay the cost of demo, but of course they don't have any assets and they don't have any money, so we can't get blood from a stone. We had another one that we secured on a collapsing garage, and I forget the address, and we got an order for him to pay for that too, but then he declared bankruptcy, and because of the bankruptcy, we couldn't do any collection on that, and any assets were discharged, or any debt that he might owe the city was discharged. So, I mean, it's,
see,
unfortunately, you know, a judgment's just a piece of paper unless the entity that owns the property has something we can sink our teeth into. I'm hopeful with the Ponderosa property because that's owned by a fairly large company that we've dealt with for several years.
correct. It's a
And I-
separate corporation off another one, but that's,
And I imagine, and this goes back to, everything's referring back to the goal-setting session, a point that Councilmember Spicer brought up about, and I know that there have been some kind of preliminary plans created for this, but just kind of the, you know, redevelopment of that entryway, that corridor, Eaton Street into the city. So I think that's something we can kind of talk about tomorrow as well.
we've been actively looking at all main thoroughfares coming into the city, whether it be Eaton Street, South Superior Street, Michigan Ave, Austin Avenue. Amy DePrez and I were out that area just a few weeks back, trying to figure out what can or can't be done, and there again, part of it's lack of staff. We have a lot of things going on, but the bottom line is being able to go through a court system in a decent manner and timeline, and then having the funds to follow up. We also, besides the buildings that city attorney had brought up, we also have the old Union Steel building over there that's standing that we had a court order on. So we've got buildings out there we can take down. It's the fact of the matter, not having the money.
Councilmember Lawler.
Thank you, Mayor. Are we keeping an eye on the potential grant for, I can't remember what the name of it was, but I brought it to the attention of the council about this grant that hopefully it had one more house to go through before it was passed. And it was about tearing down buildings, but putting something back up. So, maybe we can kind of keep an eye out for it. I have not been. But if we can keep an, I think I told Amy about it, so she knows kind of what I'm talking about. So maybe
Well,
we can keep an eye out for that. And the potential for
I would have to say any grants that anyone knows about that we don't know, of course, we want to know.
Yeah.
But I will say that between Amy DePrez and Danielle, they do an extremely exceptional job of not only looking at what there is, but trying to seek other grants. I give them a lot of credit for that.
No doubt.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. We're gonna move on to, item L, which is update on, medical marijuana, our medical marijuana moratorium, and Attorney Harkness is gonna address that.
And you'll have to forgive me, I can't remember if we did that, if the moratorium went in place with the current council or the previous council, but either way. Previous council, okay. A moratorium was put in place, on the establishment of any medical marijuana facilities in the city of Albion. Essentially what happened, for those of you that aren't aware, the legislature really recently passed Public Act 281 of 2016 that is authorizing the creation of 5 different facilities. The Director of Planning, John Tracy, and I attended a workshop in East Lansing for municipalities and regulating these types of facilities. The bottom line is this. The framework for the regulation of these facilities is not going to be in place from the Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs until December of this year. So I think it would be it would not be a good idea for us to put the cart before the horse, so to speak. The way that the legislation is drafted is that in order for these types of facilities to establish themselves in the city, we would have to enact ordinances to essentially allow them to do that. To keep them out in the interim, we don't have to do anything. My recommendation is this: we let the moratorium lapse because the way that the legislation is drafted, we won't need it anymore. And that we revisit this issue in January of 2018 after the LAURA regs are in place, and then we can determine whether or not the council wants to authorize one or several or none of these facilities to operate in the city. So my recommendation is to let the moratorium lapse, and then in January of 18 to revisit the discussion. Because without those regulations from Laura, I think we would be setting ourselves up for a logistical nightmare trying to regulate these facilities before the state has even put their own regulations in place.
Okay. Councilmember Spicer.
Thank you, Mayor. Attorney Harkness, can you tell me what is the moratorium lapse date? Do you know it offhand?
Roughly, I think it's either this month or next month. Because I think we did it in November, or did we do it in November of last year then?
It was towards the end of this.
It would have to be either this month or next month. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head the exact day we did the moratorium, but it was at the very end. It was before this council, it probably would have been November. So it probably lapses this month.
Yes, it was a resolution 2016-62. It looks like a March 17th date. Indicated.
Councilmember Spicer.
So with the March 17th lapse date, given that situation, so where does that put the city then with regard to, we're not going to be making it having a framework in place until December? What happens in the instance in those months where there is no moratorium in place? Or are you suggesting we come back and put another moratorium in place until December? Or
the way that the new state laws is drafted, this Public Act 281, none of these facilities, there's 5 different facilities. There's growing facilities, processing, provisioning centers, which are the dispensaries, transport facilities, and safety compliance facilities. None of them can establish themselves within the city of Albion unless the city of Albion passes an ordinance to say these facilities can operate within the city of Albion. And so by us doing nothing, we're effectively precluding them, having the same effect of a moratorium until licensing and regulatory affairs comes up with the regulations that the state is going to use to regulate these facilities.
Thank you for clarifying.
Are there any, and that'll definitely have to be several, you know, work
at least,
sessions.
yeah, without question, yeah.
Are there any other questions or comments from council on that? Okay, thank you. Moving forward, agenda item M, request approval, mechanical music device for Cascarelli's of Albion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moving second, and this was, were they just a later?
Yes,
Okay.
it arrived after the
Okay.
agenda for last time.
Okay. Are there any, is there any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Reed, Brown,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Spicer,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Barnes,
No.
and Mayor Brown.
Yes. Okay. City manager report.
Mayor and council, I'm first and foremost pleased to let you know that we received the initial letter of interest from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation in regards to the Peabody project. So that's the first step to making this come to fruition. So thank you to the group that has put that together. Also, I think I have shared with you previously, we had a meeting with Mr. Bonner and a representative from MDOT in regards to a youth summer employment program that they're offering. And it's really exciting, and we're trying to establish Albion as a site where they can hire a group of young people from ages 16 and over. And I shared with you a copy of the flyers, and I think I sent it to you by email as well. It's approximately a 10-week program. And for the participants, if you're a team member, I believe it's around $10 an hour, and if you're maybe it's $9 an hour, and $10 an hour if you're a team leader. So those applications are available online at michigan.gov/MDOT-YDMP, but we have it available on our website as well as.
What's the deadline again?
The deadline, I believe, was later in April.
Okay. And would it be, exclusive to this MDOT project or to?
Well, the project is for the entire county. They will probably have a site based in Battle Creek, and we're trying to get one here in Albion. They have slots, I think it's for approximately 60 youth. Last year, they only hired 16. So we're really trying to garner participation from local Albion young people.
Okay. So, are we gonna be the kind of point people, should I direct people to the city or to just MDOT or?
Just the MDOT site.
Okay. Okay, continue, you're still in manager report.
Okay, all right. Okay, also, we received notice that the position with the Albion Economic Development Corporation for the food hub manager and market coordinator to the part-time position, that has been posted, so we encourage you to help in distributing this widely so that we can get a good pool of candidates. And we're also very excited to share with you the upcoming Run Albion, 3 races in one town, a series of races. The first one being May 5th. I have asked Mr. Dobbins to come and make a presentation at your next meeting, go into more detail about this very exciting event for Albion. It's a series of 3 for 3 years, with the first one being May 5th, and I believe registration's already started. And just a reminder that the MDOT reconstruction of Superior Street will be starting in a couple of weeks. Informational pamphlet is available to you. We will be posting that online. I do believe that MDOT was going around today hand delivering it to the businesses along Superior Street in downtown so that they are aware that their patrons will need to start parking at the rear of their buildings and or at other sites, so that everyone is as prepared as possible for the upcoming construction season, which is to start April 17th.
Okay, thank you. Are there any future agenda items this evening from council? Councilmember Barnes.
Yes, I'd like a report from the EDC concerning the Malibu iron site, such as any plans or plan of action. Have they talked to anyone that may be interested? Have they taken any action to attract anyone to that property?
Okay.
Mayor, if I could ask for a clarification, because we have that in the packet, and perhaps you haven't seen it yet.
Well, what I saw in the packet was that the EDC, John Tracy, looked at several properties from the papers that I have.
Well, there's one specific to the Malibu.
I will say, I guess, in previous, with the previous council, we did have quarterly reports. So I think, you know, we can, yeah, we'll see, yeah. I understand what you're saying, so we can, that's something that we probably should continue to do. I don't know if that's what you're asking in that format, but yeah, so that's noted as a future agenda item. Thank you. So, Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. When you say quarterly reports, is that from EDC?
Yeah, what we did probably for, yeah, about maybe like 3-4 years, just every quarter, just an update on what was happening with the development, so.
Thank you.
Are there any other future agenda items? Seeing none, we will, everyone's here. Okay, public comment. This is the general public comment. These, if you want to address the city council, it doesn't have to be tied to an agenda item. We just ask that it's respectful and to no more than 3 minutes. So are there any public comments this evening? Yes, sir. Oh, and state your name and your address.
Rick Tibbs, 304 Miller Drive, concerning the new garbage thing issue. I think it was probably most likely another forced issue like the sidewalk tax. Concern, I'm speaking on thousands of people here. And wasn't able to vote on it. I think it's a violation of a right for a freedom of choice. I know several people now are paying 2 garbage bills because they own businesses. They're paying their business and they got one at the house. Several senior citizens on fixed incomes, which now they're being forced to pay this. Not a lot of money, but it's more money than probably they can afford. And I know a lot of them now only had just a small bag of garbage a week, maybe just a little shopping bag full. Now they've got a dumpster they got to move. And personally, I don't need a dumpster in my house. I recycle. But if I got a dumpster in my house, which my wife wants me to have, I don't know if the recycle is going to close or not. I personally don't feel like I should recycle. I'm going to throw everything in a dumpster. I mean, it's going to be dirt anyways. And, you know, it just gets deeper and deeper. You know, I got people today, I've seen their garbage came out late, so there's dumpsters out there full of crap. Coons are getting into it and everything else because they put it out there, and next week it'll be there, but it'll be all over the street. I think it was a violation of us. We should have been able to vote on it. It's the sidewalk tax, now the garbage, and there's going to be a third issue come up, which is going to be forced on us, probably. I'm not sure if Albion College is behind it or not, but if Albion College wanted something done, they're going to get it done here. Who's running this town? You guys or Albion College? Basically, that's it in a nutshell. They want it, it's going to get done. Tear the buildings down, Albion College is going to get it done. And there's gonna be more situations coming up, more organized situations with this subject. We're working on it now. I think we should personally be able to vote on this. So with that, I'll pass. Thanks.
Are there any other, is there any other public comment? Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Mr. Mayor, council members, city manager, and the residents of the city of Albion. Good evening. My name is Gary Tompkins, and I'm your county commissioner. Just going to go over a few updates this evening real quickly. I know I'll be very brief. First of all, in conjunction with the road project for South Superior Street, the Calhoun County Road Department will be patching the detoured streets that are certainly involved in the project scope for the MDOT. As we all know, pothole patching will continue in and around the city as it relates to the townships. A lot of things going on with respect to that. Just real quickly, as a reminder, the Calhoun County Senior Fair will take place this Thursday in Marshall at the Marshall Middle School from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. The event is free and open to all seniors, certainly. If you have an opportunity, if you know any seniors, please take the opportunity to bring them over. It's an excellent opportunity for some valuable resources for them to be able to do, and if certainly they can get their year's worth of ink pens as well. Certainly as that goes as well. Just recently attended the Michigan Associations of County Conference in Lansing on March 27th and 28th. Interesting enough, there were topics discussed relative to county issues, county budgets, and that nature, but Governor Snyder actually was there on Tuesday to speak at our luncheon, and he talked about the job creation and the future economy, certainly in the state of Michigan. And one of the things he indicated was that the days of duplication and they're over, and the collaboration and consolidation is essentially the wave of the future. You know, one of the things, and I think specifically for you folks in general, he also talked about revenue sharing, which is near and dear to a lot of folks' heart. And he indicated that there would see no new revenue growth, no revenue sharing growth, and especially as we enter the fiscal years 19, 20, and 21. Those years look to be very, very unstable at this point in time. So certainly that's not necessarily, I never want to bring bad news, but certainly that's something that you can certainly keep your eye on as you move forward with respect to revenue sharing. And then just real briefly, we held a special Board of Commissioners meeting on March 30th, and we approved the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Trust Fund grant application to acquire a 65-acre parcel located in Albion Township for the Iron Bell Trail Project, which I thought was very positive, certainly for the city of Albion as well. This proposed use of the property will be to create a major Eastern County trailhead for public and recreational use, and Calhoun County will be the fiduciary on that. So it was excellent, excellent news there. So, and just in closing, most of you probably did receive my newsletter that I just came out with, certainly, and it's something that I'm pretty proud of in terms of being able to make sure we keep everybody informed, certainly not only in the city of Albion, but the residents of the 7th District as well. And if you're interested, certainly, and you know anybody that is interested, they can certainly email me with if they want to get one personally for their home or office. And also, I do have hard copies also at the Albion Public Library I'll be distributing too, so it's just another area to be doing that. Other than that, I wish you all a very good evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Is there any other public comments this evening? Okay. Seeing none, we are going to we have to have a motion to go into executive session. So, can I have a motion so that we can go into executive session?
So moved.
Support. Second.
Okay, moved and supported, and, oh, we have to vote on that. Who's a roll call vote on that, please?
And do roll call vote.
Yeah, just for.
Councilmember Barnes. Yes. Reed. Brown.
Yes.
Lawler.
Yes.
Spicer.
Yes.
French.
Yes.
And Mayor Brown.
Yes, thank you.